Daisy Hauser swiped the Sky Guide app off her phone's screen and checked her text messages again. Still nothing. She nervously nipped at the nail on her middle finger, wondering if Harrison had gotten tied up at work. She looked at her last text with Harrison and smiled. They had only been dating 3 weeks, but he already felt like home. Daisy wasn't quick to call it love, but everything was different with Harrison. Maybe love is exactly what it was. A brisk wind whipped her chestnut hair off her neck for a moment before rolling through the trees behind her. She pulled her jacket tighter to ward off the chill. Daisy didn't mind the cold, especially when she would have Harrison to keep her warm. Daisy looked up at the stars. Orion's lookout was the perfect spot for stargazing, something she and Harrison both loved. It was one of the many interests they had in common. She could see Orion's belt perfectly, along with so many others, from the rock she'd picked out. Normally it was hard to see the stars with the full moon, but Orion's lookout was like a little nest surrounded by sky-reaching pine trees. The moon hadn't reached its apex yet, which meant they still had time to see the stars. It was a clear night, one of the first they had had in a while. Harrison had told her about Orion's lookout on their 3rd date. She'd always heard of it as a lover's lane kind of place, so she'd never had much of a reason to go. Then he'd told her about all the amazing constellations and comets he'd seen. It seemed like the perfect spot for a late-night picnic. The wicker basket next to her was filled to the brim with all of their favourite finger foods and sweets. She'd made cucumber sandwiches, spinach artichoke dip, homemade pita bread, peanut butter fudge, and lemon blueberry scones. She'd thrown several ice packs in to keep everything fresh and topped off the basket with 2 mason jars of sweet tea. The trailhead was about 50 yards from the clearing, but the hike was slippery and steep in spots. The basket wasn't heavy on flat ground, but she definitely struggled carrying it all the way from the car. A couple she passed on the way up had even offered to help, even though they were leaving. She was glad Harrison hadn't seen her trying to lug the basket, a blanket, and her purse all by herself. Daisy had no doubt it would have made him laugh, which made her chuckle too. Her body thrummed with excitement to see him again. She checked the time on her phone. It was almost midnight. He was late, and, technically, she was trespassing. Daisy looked around, unsure if anyone patrolled the area after dark. Hopefully, Harrison would be there to calm her fears soon. It was one thing to trespass with someone she liked to see this perfect view of the stars. It was something completely different to get stood up and get caught breaking the law. The wind had died down, and whatever wildlife there was around her was quiet. Daisy saw the outlines of trees against the slightly light sky, and she noticed how still everything was. A chill crept up her spine. She heard a car door shut in the distance, and what she thought might be footsteps. Her heart hammered with anticipation. She pulled several battery-operated votives out of her purse and set them around the picnic basket. It was darker than she'd expected, and she didn't want Harrison to miss her surprise. She flicked each votive on and turned toward the hiking trail with a bright smile. Daisy's eyes struggled to adjust to the darkness at the other end of the clearing. "Harrison?" No answer. Daisy's breath hitched in her throat. A tall, broad-shouldered man was running right at her. She searched his face, trying to make sense of what was happening and who he was. Every cell in her body froze instantly, like the temperature had just dropped to 0 degrees. His long gait brought him closer and closer. Daisy launched herself from the rock with all the strength she had. She darted to the left just as he reached for her. Narrowly missing his grasp, she heard the man crash into the rock with a thud. She willed her legs to run faster than she ever had,